It's October and I'm putting up a Christmas tree. Hey everyone! In today's video, I'm going to show you step by step how I put together my camo Christmas tree. And this is a new tree for me. Well, sort of. I'm actually taking my winter woodland tree, which I've done for several years, and I'm taking the items and splitting them into two new trees and adding a few items to each of those. And this is the first of those two trees. It all started with the trip to Dallas, and I decided to pop over to Decorator's warehouse, fabulous Christmas store by the way, and while there I found this really cool camo ribbon on clearance, and I just knew I had to incorporate it into my decor somehow. And the rest just kind of snowballed from there. But before we get into the video, for those of you that are new to my channel, hi, my name is Catherine, and I love to make videos on decorating for the holidays. I also sometimes make videos on fashion and beauty. So if you like any or all of those topics, then I hope you'll consider subscribing. Also, give this video a thumbs up. It's really helpful to me here on YouTube. But let me know, when do you start decorating for Christmas? Are you a traditionalist that likes to wait until after Thanksgiving, or do you get a little bit of a jump start like me because I have so many trees to put up? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. Now let's go ahead and get started with the first step. So the first step may seem like an obvious one, but I'm going to share some tips that really do make a difference, and that is to get the tree set up and to fluff it. So first, I am going to be decorating a 7-foot slimline tree, and it does come pre-lit. However, I find that most trees don't come with enough lights. So a general rule of thumb is that for kind of a regular width Christmas tree, you want about 100 lights for every foot of the tree. So for a 7-foot regular width tree, that would be 700 lights. Since this one's slimline, I can get away with a little bit less. But this tree actually only came with 350 lights. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add my own lights as I'm fluffing the tree. And because I'm adding my own lights, what I can do is choose some that have a twinkle function. So as I add these to the tree, I'm going to put this set of lights more on the inside of the tree, so the tree really kind of twinkles and shimmers from within. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way from the bottom up, and I'm going to fluff each row and run the lights row by row, working my way bottom to top. And when I'm fluffing, I am going to really make sure that I splay out those tips, touching every single one to make sure the tree looks as full as possible. Now I will link to this set of twinkle lights down in the description box below. This is my favorite set, and I pretty much use it on all of my trees except for my silver tinsel tree. Now we're going to move on to step 2, and that is going to be the tree topper. And there's a couple of things that I like to try to incorporate into my tree toppers. The first being, I like to incorporate light into my tree topper in some way. In some trees, I'll actually use a spotlight to come up. Other times, I use lights that I've added and just make sure that I have enough to be able to intersperse throughout whatever tree topper I create. And then sometimes I actually find things that are made to be things for tree toppers that already have lights in them, such as this. And this is a new item for me this year that I also picked up from Decorator's warehouse. It's called like an umbrella light, but what's cool is it's flexible, so you can really bend and shape this. So the next step for my tree topper is I'm going to affix this to the top. And what I'm going to use to affix it is pipe cleaners. And I actually have a kit. I have a video on, I'll link that below in case you'd like to see what all's in my kit. But I have a kit with a bunch of things that are just useful for me when I'm decorating a tree. One of the things that I always keep are pipe cleaners. And I have pipe cleaners in various colors, but brown and green are the ones that I use most often. So when I have something like this that I need to figure out how to affix to the tree, I'll just use some pipe cleaners and actually run it at kind of the base where it's this last branch or this top branch where it's sturdy. The other type of thing that I like to have in my tree toppers are things that go ahead and give the tree more height and actually come up out of the top. And so typically what I like to use are sprays and stems of materials. So in addition to the light, I'm going to weave these kind of around it. Once again, I'm going to affix these with pipe cleaners. These actually came from my winter woodland tree, so I'm reusing these. But something that I often like to do is pull in some of the same types of picks and stems that I'm going to use throughout my tree so that it matches up top. But you'll see in a couple of steps that the picks and stems that I picked out actually do match these pretty well. So it will all kind of tie together well enough. And then to complete my tree topper, I'm going to make some bows and run them around the base of the tree topper and it's going to be the same ribbon that I use throughout the tree, so that way it helps it all blend together. So I'm going to create 3 of these 6-loop bows out of this camo ribbon as kind of the main bow. And then I'm actually going to kind of cheat because I do also want to incorporate a second ribbon, this herringbone ribbon, into it, but I don't want to make the main bows have the 2 ribbons. So I'm just going to create some 2 loops and 1 loop so I can kind of intersperse that in. I do have a complete video on how to make a bow that I will also link below. And so really the only difference, like I said, is I'm going to incorporate my second ribbon by just creating loops. Is I'm actually going to use this green twist tie that just comes in a long roll, and then you can just snap it off at whatever point you want. I don't actually even remember what they call it, but I'll link it because this is pretty handy stuff because I want to be able to just tie these off and slip these in very easily. Got the tree topper done, or done for now, the next step is going to be to add ribbon or garland or whatever to the tree. And I'm typically more of a ribbon person. And so I've actually picked out 4 different ribbons for this tree. So let's go ahead and spend a couple of minutes talking about what I picked out and why. So obviously the first ribbon that I picked out is the camo ribbon. And, you know, obviously I like camo. But I didn't want this tree to be too overly a hunter woodsy kind of tree. So I wanted to pick out a contrasting ribbon. And so that's why I chose the herringbone ribbon. It's the same color palette, but it's a little bit more formal of a ribbon. But then I also picked out this third ribbon, which is the same color palette, but it's almost more of an open weave burlap or something, kind of a mesh. And I thought it would pair well with this more traditional burlap that I used on my winter woodland tree. And so because I've got these 4 different ribbons, I thought what I would do is actually pair up the camo and herringbone one together and then pair up the green open weave mesh and traditional burlap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them and I'm going to weave them throughout the tree in a bit of a zigzag pattern. And what I'll do to make it more manageable is to actually cut the ribbon into 24, 36-inch length, something like that, because I want to weave it in and out, and that'll make it a lot easier. And the burlap ribbon from the other tree is already cut. So one thing that's important for me when picking out ribbon is that I always pick out wired ribbon. Whether it's bows or, you know, just weaving it throughout the tree, it is so much better to have wired ribbon because it'll shape better how you want and doesn't go floppy. You'll notice as I'm adding the ribbon, the points at which I want it to push into the tree, I'm basically just securing it using the branch tips. Also, you'll notice that all of the ends have been cut in a fishtail, so when the ends show, they just look a little bit more finished. I've used most of my ribbon. I do have 1 full roll and a partial roll of each of them left. So what I'm going to do now is put pause on the ribbon and see where I might need to fill in at the end of the tree. So I'm going to leave it for that. So now the next step is the thing that I think can really make trees just go that extra step and really look special. And that's adding all of the stems, sprays, additional greenery, etc. And I've always enjoyed using additional greenery on my trees. Most of the time I don't have the most expensive of trees, and so using additional greenery makes them look a little more real, a little more lifelike, it fills them out, and of course sprays and things just really can give an expensive touch to a tree. This is really where I had a great time at Decorator's Warehouse. They have a great staff, and I actually worked with one of the women there, Leanne, and we talked about what my goal was with this tree, and what she did was help me put together a cluster. And I've done things like this in the past on some other trees, but never quite to this level. And by the way, Decorator's Warehouse does have their own YouTube channel, so they've got a lot of really great tutorials. So I recommend you check them out because, they share some different things than what I share here. But what I am about to share is one of their kind of signature things, which is putting together a cluster of sprays to have it coming out of the tree. And so this is what we basically designed, and because I have a 7-foot tree, they recommended that I get the materials to make 7 of these. So I have already made 6 of them, and so this is basically what it looks like. And I'll show you basically how easy it is to put them together to really give your tree that kind of wow impact and how you can do it yourself. So first I'm going to start with my greenery, and I've made sure that it's already a little bit opened up. Now I'm going to take one of the berries, and so for this one I'm going to take the longest one, and I'm actually going to run this along spine to spine with the greenery, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to kind of open it up and weave it together so it looks almost like the berries maybe belong with this greenery. Then I'm going to come in with my other type of spray berries, so then I'm going to run that maybe a little bit to one of the sides with the spine also running down, and I'm going to open that up. And now I'm going to take one of my poinsettias, and when you buy them, typically if they've not been messed with before, they come flattened like this for shipping, and they're really easy to fluff. So I've got that. I'm going to bend it just a little bit because I don't want it to lay flat on the cluster. I want it to actually stand up a little bit. And then I've got the brown one. This one doesn't have as many petals. I will bend that slightly. So now I'm going to take my cluster that I put together. I'm going to lay the white one down coming kind of to one side, and then I'm going to take the brown one and I'm going to lay it near it but at a slightly different angle and not quite as far down, and I'll fluff that in a minute. Now that I have all of these together, I'm just going to take one of the stems and I'm just kind of wrap it to keep it together. But kind of my tip, because I'm not trusting that that's going to stay together super well. This is another time when I'm going to take a pipe cleaner and I'm just going to come up to the base and I'm going to use that to tie it at the base really tight, and then I'll just flip that extra pipe cleaner up so you don't see it. Then with the extra stem, I'm just going to curl this under, and that way you won't have to worry about it poking through on the back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place these in the tree so that they're kind of coming down, because that's the natural shape of a tree, right? As it kind of cascades down with gravity. And so similar to with the ribbon, we're going to work in a zigzag pattern. Then in addition, I did get these poinsettias. They're a little bit different, but obviously tied to everything else. And so I have 7 of these as well. And so I'm not going to make clusters out of these. I'm just going to stick these in alternating spots where I have some holes. And then I do have some of my own sprays and picks from my woodland tree that I will also use to fill in. And I know, of course, not everybody can make it to Texas to actually visit Decorator's Warehouse. They do have a website that has a lot of these products, so anything that I can find on their website, I will link below. I really just love when that step is done because I really think the tree just starts really getting its personality. So now that we're done with that, we're going to move on to the actual ornaments. And so the next step is going to be the filler ornaments. So I always like to use a lot of balls to fill up my Christmas tree. One, because they're inexpensive, and so you get good bang for your buck. And 2 is the way I like to put on my ornaments is I like to put some on the inside and then also have some on the outside. But obviously the things on the inside you don't see as well, but they do serve a very good purpose. One is it fills in your tree and allows your eyes to kind of, instead of looking through, kind of bounces it back out. So I've got a selection of balls here. All of these are from my winter woodland tree, and they all came from Amazon a couple of years ago. And I'm just going to basically start putting these on with mostly the intention of putting them more to the inside and then working my way out just a little bit. And then when we're done with this, we'll come back to the next step, which is putting on the more specialty ornaments. And you'll notice that all of the balls do stick with a similar color palette of browns, creams, whites, and greens. ornaments on. In hindsight, I wish I had some bigger balls to really help take up a little bit more space and better match the scale of some of these big clusters that I have, but I think it's okay. I mean, I'm still just gonna use what I already have. Now we're going to move on to the next step, which is the second step of ornaments, the specialty ornaments. And for this, once again, I'm mostly reusing the things that I already have. So I have a lot of things in kind of natural wood colors, I have animals, and I have just other things. I did purchase just a couple of ornaments that I saw at Decorator's Warehouse that I just happened to like, but for the most part, these are things that I already own. And what I'm going to do when I'm hanging the ornaments is I'm going to avoid adding ornament hooks. I'm going to try to use the built-in hangers that they already have. And what I'm going to do is when I find a good spot, like this one's kind of big, so I'm looking for a place with a good gap, I'm actually going to wrap it around such that it hangs as close to that tip as possible, which gives me the best control and keeps it from like turning around. So I'm going to continue on with those and then we'll be almost done. Oh, and by the way, you may have noticed out the windows that it has gotten dark on me, so hopefully that's not impacting the lighting for this video too much. Fast one because I really don't have that many specialty ornaments, which typically those are the most expensive, so you know that's a good way to go with your tree. Just really have a few that you showcase but fill up the rest of it with less expensive things. So now we're on to the next to last step, and that's really to kind of take a step back and evaluate the tree and determine where there's gaps, where things need to move, and make those adjustments. So remember, I had some ribbon left over when I did the main ribbon step. Well, now's the time that I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to see where do I still have gaps, where maybe can I see the stem to the clusters that I've put up, etc. And where I've got that, I'm going to basically scraps, and I'm going to do something really simple with them. I'm going to just basically create, single loops similar to what we did for the top of the tree. So I'll just take them, twist, tie it off, and I can cut a fishtail into these, but the way I plan to do it, you won't even really see the tail. I'm just going to stick it in, so literally the loop is just kind of sticking out, and that will fill up the space. All right, we are on to the very last step, and that is to put down the tree skirt. And I always like to have something around my tree so it's not so bare at the bottom. Since I don't have presents yet, it is only the end of October, then what I have are just some various figurines. And once again, these came from my other tree. So I've got this beautiful Santa. He'll still go perfectly with this tree. I believe he came from At Home a year or two ago, but I think I saw something similar at Hobby Lobby this year. And then I also have a little trio of these deer that have the little acorns adorning them, and so that kind of ties in with some of the other pieces that I have on here. So I'll get these down and show you what the tree looks like completed. So there is the completed tree. It is quite an astonishing looking tree. You may have noticed I did change the light up at the top in the tree topper to one of kind of the shimmering effect. So let me know down in the comments below, do you prefer it like this or do you prefer it as a steady on? And while you're there, don't forget, let me know, when do you typically start decorating for Christmas? But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed doing the tree. If so, then please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.